Hello everybody, I'm SnipingIsFun, and in my second video today, I'm going to bring not necessarily a response, but a kind of a continuation, my thoughts kind of a video on a video made by Archimedies123 today. I think a lot of people probably know who Archimedes is. He's the guy who goes on and gives his opinion on various video game related stuff, like from how fanboys think to how certain companies work to how the industry works and stuff like that. But he never films himself. He always does those little animations and like slideshow kind of pictures. And I want to talk and give my thoughts quickly, maybe about a 10-minute video or so, on his latest video he brought out today, and things I agree and disagree with, kind of a thing. And basically that's all this video is going to be about. In the video in question here, the video I want to talk about is called Nintendo's Double-Edged Sword. And basically the thoughts in this video are about how most of Nintendo's franchises aren't really up in the spotlight, being pushed as much as what is considered their top three, which is Mario, Zelda, and Metroid, which I don't know how Metroid would necessarily be in this list. I know Metroid has a lot of fans and has a lot of love, and I'm trying to get into the Metroid series, and I have nothing against it or so, but I think stuff like Pokemon and Smash Bros. Is a lot more popular than Metroid is, just saying that. So that's all I want to get out of the question here, get out of the way here, in my opinion. And he's basically talking about how everyone knows Nintendo pretty much only for those franchises, because those franchises always get in the spotlight and they're always talked about. And it's kind of like how fans always seem to mention those games and always seem to play those games and praise those games, and then the haters of Nintendo always says, oh, Nintendo only has Mario, Zelda, and Metroid. And he basically talks about how it could either be ignorance, just them acting stupid and being like haters or so, or because those games are clearly what's marketed more. People really don't see much for Star Fox or F-Zero, or Star Fox, Elite Beat Agents, Kirby, Donkey Kong, Fire Emblem, Pikmin, Wave Race or 1080, or Yoshi's Story, WarioWare, Wario Land, and any other franchise I've clearly missed from Pokemon, Smash Bros. Kind of a thing, although they are quite popular. How those franchises are never really pushed a whole lot, but the name brand for Zelda, Metroid, and Mario are always there and getting pushed, kind of a thing. And how it's like a double-edged sword, because Nintendo has the popularity of those characters, which they may have had planned to begin with, or like he said about Mario, because Mario is like the most popular video game character of all time, and everyone knows Mario, even people that don't play video games. But it's kind of like how he said either they had planned his success from the start, or they stumbled upon it and accidentally on how popular Mario was going to become. And basically it's like they pushed those franchises so much, which I can understand why. Those are like their most popular franchises, but they don't push these other ones so much when there's clearly a fan base for them or so. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because it's kind of like how they push them so much, but if they did not have these franchises, how would Nintendo thrive, kind of a thing. Like, let's say Mario ended right now, or Zelda, or Metroid, or all three, or two of them. How would Nintendo, especially, let's put Mario into the equation for sure, Mario's gone, and possibly the other two, how would Nintendo thrive, kind of a thing? How would they work? Would they make a new franchise to take that franchise's spot, or would they take one of their other franchises, Kirby, Fire Emblem, Wave Race, Pikmin, or anything like that, and Golden Sun, or anything like that, and push them up to being the same popularity? It's kind of like that, and it's basically kind of like how he also said Mario has that everybody appeal. It's kind of like how people he said it's not Nintendo that has that everybody appeal. It's Mario kind of a thing. Like Mario can be necessarily played by everybody, but not really any other Nintendo franchise really could. He's kind of said like how like the grandparents and everything could play Mario, but you put Zelda in their hands or stuff like that, or he even said Castlevania or Contra or stuff like that. Like let's say. And they wouldn't be able to play it kind of a thing. Like, he has that much of appeal, while not really all the other franchises do. Mario has that much of appeal. And before I say anything, I just want to probably show a quick part of this video, actually on my camera here. That's basically, I just want to show one quick little part.
That these three titles, do those very popular words all Nintendo has are these three games true, or are they simply a false accusation based on a lack of information about Nintendo's gaming library? If your answer is number 2, then the next question is, whose fault is that? I must warn you now, feelings and emotions, once again, won't help us here. With that said, what exactly do we know about Mario, Zelda, and Metroid? We know that all three of these titles, especially Mario, are Nintendo's most popular franchises. Hell, people who aren't even gamers know who Mario is, or at least know of him. But is this a good or bad thing? The easy answer to this is, it's a damn good thing, because the more popular something is, the easier it is to make money off of said something, which is why Nintendo can still make money off of Mario. So how can more money be a bad thing? Well, in Nintendo's case, it's not. Yet. I'll explain. To me, Mario becoming as iconic as he did was more of an accident than it was a planned-out business strategy by Nintendo. And I think that may end up being a problem because I highly doubt Nintendo knew just how popular a character with the story of overweight plumber rescues princess was going to be. Mario, Link, and Samus are known more for their gameplay than they are for their backstory. While nowadays companies are trying to plan out these long movie-style stories, yet their characters can't seem to be as iconic. The only character I can think of that somewhat fits the iconic list is Solid Snake. And look at all the work Konami had to do to put him where he is now. Snake is more known for the stories Konami told that involved him, because when Konami tells a story, they tell a fucking story. But how many companies are willing to go through that much work to make their main character stand out? I'm sure most developers would love for the main character in their games to be iconic. But how would they go about that? This is why Nintendo can go as far as to make sports and racing games using their main characters. All they have to do is put Mario's name in the title. So Mario's not only Nintendo's most popular gaming character, but he may very well be carrying Nintendo. And if Mario were to be removed from this whole equation, then who could Nintendo use to take over? Link wouldn't work simply because of his playstyle. While we all know that the Wii is meant for everyone, before the Wii's release, it didn't seem so much like Nintendo was for everyone as it seemed like it was Mario that was for everyone. The Legend of Zelda, however, was not. If anything, Zelda was more for the hardcore gamer of the 80s, i.e. the gamer that was willing to put a lot more time and effort into a game that wasn't going to easily be beaten overnight. A game like this was going to take lots of work, lots of time, gaming magazines, and Nintendo hotlines to call and run up your parents' phone bills. This is why our parents, and hell, even grandparents, would play a game like Mario. But how many of them would dare touch something like Legend of Zelda, Ninja Gaiden, or hell, Castlevania? Like I said, it didn't seem so much that Nintendo was for everyone. It was Mario that was for everyone. And this made it possible for Mario to become as iconic as he is now. It was because his style of gameplay was literally for everyone. But if Super Mario Brothers was as difficult to play as Legend of Zelda...
That's how much I want to show you. Just a little part. You can see the rest of the video on his channel. But basically it's just this. My thoughts on all this is, in a way, I do agree with him. In a way, I don't agree with him or so. You know, I am a Nintendo fan. I've been a Nintendo fan for a long time, but I'm not no fanboy, as much as some people would clearly say I might be. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You know who you are. Because I can prove that Nintendo has faults, and they clearly do. Otherwise, I would not be part of Operation Rainfall, because those games would already be coming here. Yay! No. But I do love Nintendo. I love all their franchises. But I agree with what basically he's saying about is there's a lot. He says about this in certain videos. Basically, a lot of fans talk about mainly only those games, and they don't really go into either playing or talking about Fire Emblem or Advance Wars, Battalion Wars, Elite Beat Agents, Golden Sun, any other franchise from Pokemon, although Pokemon is clearly talked about, you know, although he didn't really mention in this video. It's basically, the whole point is Nintendo pushes those franchises so much, but they don't push their other franchises at all, and in a way that's not a good thing when you are a company of so many video game franchises, but yet you really don't push any of them more so than just like 2, 3, 4, 5 or so of them. And you have like 30 plus franchises, some of which obviously haven't been seen in years, Mac Rider, stuff like that, you know, franchises that died out or so, and they are reviving a few. Kid Icarus is, of course, coming back. It's kind of like the whole thing is like, and all these, all companies are, of course, of that, because Sony forgets a lot of their franchises. I mean, we haven't seen a Jak and Daxter game for years. They got rid of Medieval, Moto, Tomb Raider's not theirs anymore. They lost Spyro, they lost Crash. They lost a lot of things, and of course Microsoft doesn't really have much of their own. But when it comes to Nintendo, the whole thing about all of this is Nintendo has the franchises, but yet they don't push them, certain ones, as much as they do. I mean, of course Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Pokemon, Smash Bros, because those are clearly like Nintendo's top 5. Donkey Kong can be tossed into first 6, one, and Kirby for 7th or so. But top 5 at least, or at least he said top 3, those 3, Mario, Zelda, Metroid, are of course the most popular ones. They're going to get pushed more because they're going to sell more and get more profit. But all these other games make profit too, and they are franchises owned by Nintendo, but they don't get that mass appeal popularity that Mario does, because Mario's the one that was pushed towards that. Mario has the gameplay style of that, and of course some of these games don't have that kind of gameplay style. You know, the casual gamer, non-gamer, you know, grandparents and little kids kind of thing are not going to be playing, you know, Fire Emblem or Sin and Punishment, or, you know, sometimes even Punch-Out to an extent, or all these other games, and they won't have that mass appeal and gameplay that can actually thrive to make them, you know, playable by everyone. But if they were pushed more, I think they would be closer to it. And Nintendo, as a gaming company that has these franchises, can push them a lot more, because I clearly think they can. And I think a lot of these franchises, how I see it, is a lot of them are going to get pushed for Wii U and 3DS. We're going to see F-Zero and Star Fox and Kirby, Donkey Kong, Wave Race, 1080, you know, Kid Icarus and stuff like that pushed. Another Leaping Agents or so, Golden Sun, Sin and Punishment. Suppose even another Earthbound / Mother, you know, clearly see them get pushed and become, I mean, I disagree with them to an extent, because they do, I mean, you clearly do see them somewhat push those franchises, and they do try to get the names of them out there sometimes, but when it comes down to it, they don't try as hard as, say, of course, their top franchises. And if those franchises were gone, what would Nintendo do? You know, that's just about it. You know, it's just, I mean, I just wanted to give a small quick thought. I mean, most of this video was me just mentioning his video and then showing it, but like I said, my thoughts on this, I'm a fan of Nintendo, and of course those are the top selling franchises, but I do have to admit here that it is kind of a, like, Nintendo's fault that some of their franchises are not as popular as they are, or that they died off, because of course Nintendo didn't push them as much as they could have. Because if they pushed them, those franchises can become the next big Marios and Zeldas and Metroids and everything. That's just my thoughts on this video, guys. Put in the comment section what you guys thought about this video. I'll put in the related section in my video info section, like, his link to his video so you can go see it, unless of course you already seen the video, or have him subscribe so you can go see it one day, or you can go already check it out. Go check it out, come back here, comment on it. I want to see your guys' thoughts, and that's about it. See you guys later. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you guys in my next video.